You ever walk outside to grab coffee before shift, only to find your Jeep missing from your own driveway? Yeah, I'm talking about my Jeep, the one with a reinforced undercarriage, hidden comms unit, and tactical kit stashed inside. Because what Karen didn't know, she didn't just cut the lock on my gate to steal a parked eyesore. She snatched a police task force vehicle. I'm Marcus, ex-military, now police task force coordinator. And the HOA, they thought they could bully me out with false violation notices, complaints about unauthorized parking, fines every week. But last Tuesday, Karen crossed the line. She brought bolt cutters, snipped the lock on my private driveway, hooked my Jeep to her cousin's tow truck. She claimed it was an abandoned vehicle, that the HOA had authority. But let me tell you something, if you're watching this right now, always document everything. That morning, as I stood there in shock, coffee still steaming in my hand, I saw my Jeep halfway down the street, Karen filming herself, ranting about community image. Pause, quick thing, if you love real stories where HOA Karens get exposed, hit that like button, drop a comment on the craziest HOA you've heard of, and subscribe so you don't miss what's about to go down here. Now, I followed her, quiet, calm. Karen was live streaming it all, bragging about how she finally got rid of the trash. What she didn't know, the trash was wired with surveillance devices. Body cam from inside the Jeep, dash cam still rolling. She took the Jeep to her cousin's workshop, planning to hold it until fines were paid. And the moment she opened the back, she saw the badge, the tactical gear, and realized the trash she stole belonged to our county's organized crime task force. And that's when the panic started. Karen tried to call the HOA board, screaming that she didn't know. She tried to blame the tow driver, blame the bylaws, blame everyone but herself. But it was too late, because while Karen was ranting, I had already called it in. 2 patrol units rolled up, lights cutting through the early morning haze, pulling in front of her cousin's garage. Karen froze. She kept saying it was an abandoned vehicle, it was HOA property now. And the look on her face when the officer told her, "Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent," was worth every single false violation notice she ever stuck on my door. Want to see how we flipped the entire HOA, got Karen's crimes exposed, and turned this neighborhood around? Stay tuned for the next part. And if you're ready to see Karens get wrecked by the truth, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss how this unfolds. You ever watch someone's confidence drain out of their face in real time? That's what it looked like when Karen stood there, arms crossed, lips trembling, as officers opened the back of my Jeep and pulled out the task force evidence kit. See, this wasn't just any Jeep. It had encrypted radios, body armor, lockboxes tied to federal warrants. And Karen, she had live streamed herself cutting my lock. She had posted it on Facebook, bragging about how the HOA doesn't play around. She even tagged the HOA page. That video would become Exhibit A. If you think HOA Karens can get away with anything, just wait. Hit like if you want to see them held accountable, and subscribe if you're tired of HOA bullies pushing people around. Now here's the backstory. This wasn't just about my Jeep. Karen and the HOA president, Greg, had been fining me for months. They said my tactical vehicle didn't fit the aesthetic of the neighborhood. Never mind that I parked it inside my own fenced driveway, that I paid every tax, that the HOA had no jurisdiction over private driveways. They didn't care. They wanted me gone because I wouldn't fall in line. Karen's son runs a local towing company. Greg's cousin owns a property they wanted to flip for Airbnb rentals. My house stood in their way. They tried noise complaints. They tried false accusations. They even sent anonymous letters to my department, claiming I was unstable. But the department knew me, and they knew the HOA was lying. When Karen cut that lock, she thought she was making a power move. What she actually did was commit felony trespass, vandalism, and grand theft auto live for everyone to see. I didn't even have to say a word. The body cam from inside the Jeep caught Karen's voice. "Get it out of here before he comes back." The dash cam caught her face when she realized there was police gear in the back. And the officers, they didn't just come to recover the Jeep. They came with a warrant. Because during the investigation, they found out Karen and Greg had been using HOA funds to pay the towing company for unauthorized removals. Thousands of dollars in kickbacks, fake invoices, illegal property seizures. It was bigger than a Jeep. This was organized HOA theft. Take a breath. If you're shocked right now, imagine how Karen felt when the cuffs clicked shut. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe so you don't miss how this ends, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Ever seen an HOA cross the line like this? Back at the station, Karen tried to spin it. She said she was protecting the community, that she thought the Jeep was abandoned. But the paperwork didn't lie. The footage didn't lie. The neighbors, tired of the harassment, didn't lie. Witness after witness stepped forward. One neighbor told the officers she said she was going to teach Marcus a lesson. That was all it took? Karen was charged with felony trespass, grand theft auto conspiracy to commit fraud, misuse of HOA funds. And Greg, he was next? We're just getting started. Want to know how we dismantled their entire scam, recovered thousands in stolen HOA funds, and rebuilt the community to protect others? Don't forget, if you want to see HOA Karens face consequences, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're first to see the final showdown. You'd think it would end there. Karen in handcuffs, Greg sweating as officers boxed up HOA files. But it didn't, because the real corruption was deeper. Inside the HOA office, investigators found a second set of books. Hidden payments, fake security fees, overbilling residents for repairs that were never done. Thousands, no, hundreds of thousands, gone. Hit like if you've ever suspected your HOA of shady money games, and drop a if you're ready to see how we exposed them. Remember how Greg's cousin owned that property they wanted to flip? That property was purchased using HOA funds laundered through Karen's son's towing company. They were using the HOA to push out homeowners with fines and harassment tow and seize violating vehicles, force sales on homes under nuisance claims, flip those homes for profit, all while billing residents for beautification projects. They even charged residents for the HOA meeting snacks while planning how to steal their homes. Imagine living in a neighborhood where your dues pay to evict your neighbor so someone else can profit. That's exactly what was happening. So I called in a favor. I had friends in state-level financial crimes. They dug deeper. Karen's HOA account was tied to 2 out-of-state LLC. Greg was a silent partner. Those LLC were funneling money through property management consulting fees. $20,000 here, $50,000 there. Consulting fees, special assessments. Money that should have repaired sidewalks and trimmed trees. Paid for Greg's new boat. And Karen's vacations. If you're angry, you should be, but hang on, because here's where it gets good. During a packed emergency HOA meeting, residents showed up demanding answers. Karen wasn't there. Greg tried to run the meeting. I stood up, pulled out the folder with the evidence, and handed it to the police officers standing at the back of the room. The moment Greg saw them walking down the aisle, his face turned the color of spoiled milk. The officers cuffed him right there. Gasps, phones came out, people started live streaming, and the residents, they cheered. If you're watching, this is your reminder. Always document your HOA actions. You never know when you'll need it. Greg was charged with embezzlement, wire fraud, conspiracy, racketeering under state RICO statutes. Karen, already facing her charges, was hit with additional counts tied to the financial crimes. The state froze the HOA accounts. Judge appointed a receivership to manage the HOA, audit the books, and restore transparency. The stolen funds. Residents started seeing refund checks, and the towing company, license revoked, equipment seized, owner under investigation for participating in the fraud. Hit subscribe right now if you want to see communities take back power from HOA bullies. But the story wasn't just about taking down Karen and Greg. It was about rebuilding. Neighbors who hadn't spoken in years came together. They started planning a community watch affair, resident, run HOA board transparency for every dollar spent. I donated my time to help them write new bylaws, ensuring no one could ever get that kind of unchecked power again. The Jeep, it's still in my driveway. The fence, it's higher now, legally approved, and the HOA, now run by the people it's meant to serve. Don't miss how it all ends, and what happened when Karen tried to plead for mercy. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment justice. If you believe HOA corruption must be exposed. Karen sat in court, eyes hollow, as the judge read the charges. Fraud, extortion, conspiracy, wire fraud. Each word echoed like a hammer in that silent courtroom. If you've made it this far, type karma in the comments. Let's see how many believe HOA bullies deserve what's coming. She tried to plead with the judge, said it was all a misunderstanding. Blamed Greg, blamed her son, blamed the stress of managing the community. But the evidence didn't care about her excuses. Dozens of residents testified. A mom who lost her car to towing while taking her child to the doctor. A veteran whose home was nearly foreclosed over fake violations. A family who'd paid thousands in fees while Karen remodeled her kitchen. Karen turned pale as each resident stood up, telling their story. HOA were meant to protect communities, not destroy them for profit. Prosecutor laid out everything. The illegal property seizures, the fake fines, the money funneled into personal accounts, the towing company's collusion. Karen's lawyer tried to negotiate a plea, but the judge wasn't having it. The sentence, 8 years with eligibility for parole after 5, restitution of over $700,000 to affected residents, lifetime ban from holding any HOA or property management position. The courtroom erupted in quiet gasps. Some cried, some hugged, and I walked out, stepped into the sunlight, and let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. If you've ever felt powerless against HOA corruption, remember, documentation, community, and persistence can win. Outside, the residents gathered. The Jeep, once a symbol of Karen's greed, now stood as a symbol of their victory. They held a meeting in the park that evening. No fancy offices, no hidden fees, just neighbors. They voted in a new, transparent HOA board. No secret meetings. Budgets published online. Residents' voices respected. Fines used for real community needs. The HOA was rebuilt, not dissolved, because the neighborhood mattered more than Karen's greed. Greg's trial was next. He was convicted on multiple fraud charges, sentenced to 10 years, and ordered to pay restitution. The towing company owner. Charged and convicted, too. The ripple effect of accountability spread across the community. Imagine a world where every HOA bully is held accountable, and communities take back power from the greedy few. As for me, I was offered a spot on the new HOA board. I declined. I didn't want power. I wanted peace. I wanted to sit on my porch, coffee in hand, knowing the Jeep was safe in the driveway. Knowing my neighbors were safe. Knowing no one would cut locks or fabricate fines again. If you believe in communities over corruption, hit that like button now. And if you're still here, I appreciate you. Because these stories are not just about Karen or Greg or me. They're about you. Your right to live in peace. Your right to protect what you've earned. Your right to stand up and say enough. If you're ready to take back your power from HOA tyrants, if you want to see more real stories of community victories, if you believe in exposing greed and protecting neighbors, subscribe now, turn on notifications, and comment enough. so we can keep building this community of accountability together. And if you want to learn exactly how I handled the legal strategy, evidence gathering, and community organizing that took Karen down, watch the next video on your screen now. Because no one, no HOA president, no greedy neighbor, has the right to steal your peace.